flag is dropped here at Daytona, and away we go for the first time. Nicholas Morcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's, possibly a little bit of contact.
Up now as we've got three-wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
Just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
Smooth stuff. Cody Graham's the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 lead at the moment.
J2ICS up front. There's Andrew Kessel, just insane.
They are ready to go. The lights are out, and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons. Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the Just Two Idiots Cup Series here for the Sprint Series, round number 3 that we will see here for the Radical Sprint Series with J2Y. And folks, it is going to be an exciting day here at Zolder. And my name is Mason Heimbaugh with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here today. 1080p 60 frames a second as qualifying is underway here at the moment, and we see drivers making their way out onto track and going to put in the best times that they can here today. I'm going to see who is going to be the driver to put themselves up on the top of the pole here today. And right now we're watching along with the 45 driver of AJ, as he's going to be one of the first drivers out on track amongst very many here for the 15 minutes of qualifying that we have here today. And drivers get ready to gear up for the first race of the night here at Zolder. And folks, it is going to be an exciting race here for not only myself, but hopefully for you folks at home, as this is going to be the first time that I've ever had the opportunity to not only commentate up here in the booth at Zolder, really just being here for the first time. I've never had the opportunity to see this track with my own two eyes, so now having the opportunity to do so, it is going to be a fresh experience for myself for certain, as we get things geared up. And right now we're watching along with the number 10 driver of Beaver. Beaver going to be with Team Loveseed, and right now currently dominating the series at the moment, having won last week's race, both the feature and the sprint race at Rutskagen. So Beaver is definitely on a hot streak at the moment, looking to push that even further here today. And as drivers come across the line for the first time here, they are going to be on their flying laps here. So we will start to see times come across our screens once they come across the line here. Once again, assuming that no mistakes are made on their part and they come across the line clean. And there goes Bob Wallace, a.k.a. the 666 driver of Black Bob with Team ZFG. We see also a driver getting a little bit off track there. A few drivers finding themselves still getting the hang of things here at Zolder, just getting their feet wet, as I'm sure a lot of drivers, maybe not a lot, but some drivers coming in here to the session as qualifying is beginning and really putting in their first laps of the race here, which is very common to see amongst a lot of sim racers. So as right now, Bob Wallace, again, the 666 machine with Team ZFG, going to be at the top of the podium at the moment, with Bro Seiden, the number 99 driver, also a Team ZFG, going to lock out the front row here at the moment. as drivers continue to see what they can do to improve their times here as the tire wear starts to climb here, as tire temperatures also start to rise here. Beaver going to now put himself at the very tippy top of the pole here with a 123.816 as his best time. Will Hammersfar, who actually is the name Squilliam, going to be in second here with Team Backmarker Motorsport with a 124.348. And I do apologize that some of the drivers here, normally for this series, we have them displayed kind of their nicknames, but for whatever reason, SDK is deciding that it doesn't want to do that today, so hopefully we can get that fixed in the future, but for the time being, we're just going to have to make do, and it will also force me to learn these drivers' real names and not have to deal with that going into the future here. But Eat My Dust, the number 24 driver, going to come across the line to put himself up there into the second place spot. And if I recall correctly here, Eat My Dust does not have a team that I'm seeing here at the moment. So, yeah, Eat My Dust still no teammate here with the Sprint Series. So I don't think not going to be competing for points necessarily in a team setting for the number 24 driver, but still competing very, very well here and putting in some very good pace, as we're seeing Squilliam coming up back into the second place spot here once again. Will pushing his way back up along with I would say their competitor for Backmarker Motorsport, Beaver, with Team Loveseed. So a little bit of competition between those two as far as pace is concerned, but we'll see just how things are going to shape up once we see the green flag drop for the first time here tonight. Again, we will see both our sprint and feature race here as well. So going to get an opportunity to see two different races, if you will, over the course of tonight. So make sure you get yourselves tuned in, get your snacks, get your drinks all set aside and ready to go, because there is going to be a lot of action to be seen here with the Just Two Idiots Cup Series and the drivers here today, as we still see drivers making their way around the track to put in their qualifying laps here with just under 10 minutes left to go here. So not a whole lot of time left here, but plenty of time if drivers are just now getting themselves into the seat once again to get themselves comfortable and ready to go. But at the moment, the top five as it stands, Beaver, well, as I say that, Squilliam managing to come out on the very tippy top by a tenth, just over a tenth of a second here, ahead of Beaver, who now sits in second place, DC in third, Eat My Dust in fourth, and Eric, aka, going to be in that fifth place spot. And Squilliam here finding himself quite off track here, coming out of turn 1 and 2 there. The long right-hander that we see, but plenty of runoff, plenty of sand to drive off into, so I don't think really going to be much of a concern for drivers getting themselves into the wall, anything like that, which is a great thing to see. A lot of times on a lot of tighter, smaller circuits, you'll see not a whole lot of runoff and just a whole lot of wall that you're often greeted with, and that can often ruin your race. But that is not what we will see. Looks like that's not a lot of what we'll see here today, is kind of reminiscent of Spa, where it just has huge runoffs and plenty of room to make sure the cars slow down before making any considerable damage to them. Either way, either how, enough jibber jabber about all of that here. We're seeing AJ fall back into that sixth place spot after being at the front for a little bit there. Bob Wallace, the 666 machine, aka Black Bob here, moving down into seventh. Brosidon in eighth place. Nicolator sitting in ninth. Joe Albanese, I had his name. Where did he go? There he is. Long Island Nerd. You know what? I was just reminding myself. Long Island Nerd with Team Rookie Mistake. Going to be back here in 10th place at the moment. So that's going to kind of roughly round out our top 10. And for the most part, that's going to be a majority of our field here. Only, I think, out of the 16 drivers that we have here in the session today, there's only 4 of them that are currently not out on track here at the moment. So I would say a relatively healthy field that we have here for today's race, and hopefully going to pose some pretty exciting racing for not only ourselves up here watching the broadcast and watching the racing from home, but also for these drivers who are also going to be looking for some action, as I don't think they would be here on a Wednesday night if they weren't looking for some kind of racing to be had. But here, Bob Wallace, 666 machine, making his way out of the final few turns that we have here, approaching the final chicane before coming out onto the front straight and across the checkered line. And as we approach our final 5 minutes of qualifying here, Beaver currently sits at the very tippy top of the pole with Squilliam, only 1/100th of a second behind Beaver at the moment. Truly incredible here from both of these two drivers. I mean, the pace between them is neck and neck. And DC as well, you can't count him out. Only about 5/10 that separates himself in the top 2 here in qualifying. But that really only gives us an idea of what a driver's single lap pace is really like here. And granted, this is an open qualifying session and there's 15 minutes of qualifying. Not exactly a 1 lap pace sort of situation, but you get the idea of what I'm trying to get at here. Most drivers that I'm seeing at the moment have about 6 laps, working on 7 laps at the moment. So not exactly a full race. You could maybe consider it kind of a mini sprint or even a sprint race in of itself. But again, not going to be indicative of a full stint pace here for these drivers. And really, you know, as much as we would probably like to see that, and we actually can get a little bit of an idea of what that might be like for some drivers here, as we've got some information, got a little bit of notes from the few practices that the drivers here at J2I have done over the past few days before this race here today. The first practice that they had, which was last Friday, DC was the driver. Urko, the 33 driver, having a little bit of a slip up here. Looks like coming out of that very, very elongated chicane, it almost looks like. But either way, DC coming out of the first practice with 33 laps completed and a best time of 123.747. The day after that and the following practice on Tuesday, which was yesterday, Beaver, who currently sits at the very tippy top, actually managed to improve his lap times with a 122.902 on Sunday and a 122.829 yesterday. So Beaver definitely has a few extra tenths to spare with that number 10 machine, but also Captain CK, Squilliam were up there as well in the 123 range in practice both of those days. DC as well, still in those top 3 spots, again in those following practices. So, you know, what we'll expect to see from the rest of the field here as we get things kicked off. I mean, it's really just going to be a matter, from what I'm seeing, and actually, while we have quite literally only a few minutes left here, let's actually take a ride on board here with Urko, the number 33 driver with Team Bong Life Motorsport, as he makes his way out of the final chicane here, and he's going to come across the line, and we're just going to take a lap on board and just kind of get ourselves familiar with what the track is like here at Zolder. Riding from the roll bar camera here of the number 33 machine, we're heading into turn number 1. Urko doing a phenomenal job slowing down, hitting the apex, and good exit speed here. Approaching turn number 2, a little slide there as he enters into it, but a good exit. Now coming out into the back straightaway, we could consider it here, into yet another chicane. I believe iRacing describes this this set of turns as 5, 6, and 7, but probably could be described a little bit differently here as we approach into our what it would be, I think, our second chicane out of 4 here on Circuit Zolder, as Urko makes his way out of turn 7. And so far, looking good out there, even despite being in that 6th place spot. But that also just goes to show you how tight this field truly is when it comes to pace. And they're out of the, really not even really a chicane. You can just drive right on through that. But 3, 4 chicanes, whatever you might consider it here. And actually, Urko going to drive right on through into pit road here to finish out his qualifying here today. And I believe that is going to wrap up our qualifying, as there's only just a few seconds left here before we see the end of it here today. We've got Tyler Book in the chat, wishing everyone good luck, and also looking forward to the battle between Squilliam and Beaver, as Squilliam doesn't get a bout of bad luck, as well as Sam Renner saying pit entry chaos incoming. So, you know, folks, well, Tyler, first of all, thank you all for those of you who are tuning in and watching here today. It is great to have you all, and let's go ahead and actually run through our starting grid here before we get too deep into things here. But front row is Beaver and Squilliam, Bob Wallace, Black Bob, and DC. In the second row, AJ and Urko. In the third row, Eat My Dust and Bro Sidon. In our fourth row, Nicolator and Joe Albanese, a.k.a. Long Island Nerd. In our fifth row, Prince Adam and James McKinney. Going to be in our sixth row. I'm going to have to come back to that one here at some point. But moving ourselves down the grid here, Garlic Dog and 976 going to be in our 7th row, and McMurk and Biker Pilot going to be in our final 8th row here today, as we get ourselves ready for the start of today's race, and drivers get themselves lined up on the starting grid and getting themselves ready for the start of today's events. And folks, I hope you all are ready for what's in store here today, not only for this race as the lights go out here for the first time at Zolder, and away we go as the green flag drops in DC. Urko, a very, very good start from both of these two drivers. Urko having a very good launch, a little bit of a mistake here from some drivers, and let's head up to the blimp camera, get a wider view of the field as they make their way through turn 2. Beaver up all the way at the front of the pack, and we've got someone, Eat My Dust, I believe the 24 driver, finding himself getting side by side and a little bit too close with one another, and that is going to cause calamity here. Bro Sidon as well having some trouble, as well as Prince Adam. Trouble already here through this field, and I mentioned to the drivers that, oh boy, I can't even... AJ going to be right on the tail of Bob Wallace here. Let's ride on board here with the number 45 driver up here in the top 5 at the moment, trying to make Black Bob, the 666 driver, see if he can make him shake here as they come out of the final straightaway, or not necessarily the final straight, as they go through the kind of chicane into the final real chicane onto the front straight and across the line, completing our first lap here at Zolder out of 20. It is action all over the field here, and while we've been covering these drivers, Urko having a little bit of trouble back here towards the tail of the pack. Let's see if we can get some quick coverage. Great pack racing between these drivers back here towards the mid-pack, and as they approach the final chicane, it blows right through into pit road. I'm not sure if there was other issues outside of, being too wide, too deep, that made Urko go down into pit road like that, but I'm sure we'll probably find out at some point. But at the moment, drivers finding themselves with a little bit more distance, a little bit more room to work with between one another. And right now, Beaver leading the field as he has a strong, nearly a second-and-a-half gap between himself and the rest of the pack, and drivers still scrambling for positions throughout the field here as we see Squilliam and Black Bob both start to fight here for the 4th place spot. A little bit behind them, Garlic Dog, Nicolator, a little bit too far here. Actually, Eat My Dust and Nicolator, excuse me, going to be side by side here with one another as they come out of the second to last chicane. And Eat My Dust going to be out ahead in that number 24 machine, able to keep some distance between himself and Nicolator. Eat My Dust going to be, again, one of the drivers that is running a lone campaign here, if you will, at the moment. I'm not 100% certain on that. I'm pretty sure he is at the moment. Not showing a team here, but looking at the action that we have towards the tail of the field here with Prince Adam, Biker Pilot, McMurk, and 976. It is looking exciting back here for the battle in 11th. Prince Adam, Biker Pilot, McMurk, all kind of in a line here. Prince Adam goes off the line into the grass, having to recover and get right back behind the number 27 driver of McMurk. And whoa, right as we tune in to the roll bar camera, they are nearly touching wheels with one another as they head into the chicane of turn 5, excuse me. Heading back out, heading into what will be turn 7 here as they head into the short chicane. A right-hander out of it. Long right-hander out of it in a short straight heading to turn 8. But they continue to follow along with one another, just staying in line, trying to stay close to one another, not get too aggressive too early, as there is still 16 laps left in this race, and the last thing you want to do is spin yourself out of the race, which we've seen some drivers unfortunately almost do here already. Biker Pilot, the most recent driver to have a bit of an incident here in the number 42 machine, but still fighting here in 12th at the moment. So not exactly the end of the day, end of the race here for a lot of these drivers, but we have seen already some drivers struggling here a little bit. And Urko, speaking of the 33 driver, I'm not sure what kind of troubles he's had here, but having to come down into pit road, maybe a penalty of some kind. I can't imagine that would be the case because they don't do live race control here, so I can't imagine that iRacing would just serve him a random penalty, a drive. Maybe he did. I don't know. Either way, either how. We're watching 976 with Team Moores Racing, and speaking of 976, the David, the driver behind the 976 machine, gave me quite a bit of a backstory behind not only his car and his team, but his teammates as well, which was just a really great thing to see from my perspective as a broadcaster. And I wish I could explain it all here, but to sum it all up here, it is a long companionship between 976 and his teammate Caudata, who is unfortunately not here today, but is the teammate of driver 976 with Team Moores Racing. So we'll talk a little bit more about the teams and more about the details that 976 has explained to me about his team and so on and so forth. But I don't want to go through it all, as we've got Brosidon, I believe, having a little bit of trouble here, quickly recovering from it. The number 99 driver, quick on his toes, able to get back into the groove of things here for Team ZFG. And currently sitting in that 10th place spot here as well. So I would say despite the, couple, maybe not even couple, but, little hiccups here and there, still looking phenomenal out here. And David, aka 976 here, not looking too hot here as he gets himself off track here as well. But surprisingly, timing and scoring not... Oh, actually, yes, it did. Never mind. let's see what happens here. And it looks like, was that just, did he just, I think he just overshot the braking zone here. Oh, nope, just, yep, cooked it a little bit too much on the exit of the chicane there, which is something that's fairly easy to do. You want to carry a lot of speed, a lot of momentum through those chicanes. You really want to try and push yourself through them, but sometimes, yeah, sometimes it can really kind of trick you. I've definitely been there myself, trying to just shave a tenth of a second off of trying to move on through there, or even trying to take a slightly different line through it. Yeah, anyway, I won't speculate on that any further. But speaking of speculation, looking at the track map and kind of seeing where these drivers are currently spread out at, we can kind of get a good idea of what drivers, well, really their short run pace is looking like here at the moment, as Beaver's got almost 4 seconds of a gap between himself and third place driver DC, which I'm very, very surprised to see that DC is the driver up there in second place and not Squilliam, after, Squilliam had such a phenomenal start here. We'll see if we can go back and possibly... Well, either way, what we are going to do here, though, is we are going to go back and take a look at the start of the race and just kind of see how things unfolded here for our drivers, and get a little bit of a better camera angle here. But here is the first lap of the race here in a mad dash to the front of the pack, heading into turn number 1, as we're scrambling to find good angles here for all of you to watch. And in the midfield, it is a lot of calamity, a lot of drivers getting side by side with one another. We're watching Bob Wallace, and just a little bit further back here, trying to find where all of our drivers currently are. We see Urko, the 33 driver, who was up here towards the front of the pack, now having fallen back to 14th now. I'm sure is not going to be too satisfied with this one, but just really, ultimately, I think a very, very clean start for these drivers, but for some of them, it didn't exactly end up staying that way here throughout this race. But looks like Squilliam gonna be hot on the heels here of, or AJ, excuse me, gonna be hot on the heels of Squilliam at the moment, as the number 45 driver tries to get as close as he can to the number 6 of Squilliam. And again, Squilliam with Team Backmarker Motorsport going to try and fend him off as much as he can. AJ going to be with Team Undesirables. That's a great, great team name. I love that. It almost kind of sounds like the Dollar Tree version of the Avengers. Just kidding. that sounded mean. I'm sorry. But watching on board here with AJ, the number 45 driver, still doing an incredible job keeping up with Squilliam here and staying within about a half a second of that number 6 driver here at the moment. So we'll see if that continues to improve here, as right now we've only got about 11 laps left before we see the end of our feature race here, and we move into our sprint. Here, actually, excuse me, it will be our sprint race first and our feature last, if I do recall correctly. I have a habit of getting those mixed up because the way that iRacing does them in the simulator doesn't always reflect the way that it's done in real life sometimes, or at least the way that some leagues have set it up in the past. It's been interesting. So anyway, either way, enough yibber yabber. We're seeing Garlic Dog and Joe Albanese at the moment, aka Long Island Nerd, have a bit of a battle here. The O2 driver, and excuse me as it seems like not sure if that's on my end or what's happening there. But either way, we're going to keep on going here. Oh, boy, Garlic Dog doing a great job of recovering from that one. Now he's going to have Brosidon hot on his tail, and actually Brosidon going to move on by here as he's going to capitalize on that bit of a mistake here from Garlic Dog, and I'm sure Garlic is going to be none too happy about that little bit of a mistake that he just had there. But great job recovering from it, not letting it get any worse from it. Maybe scrubbing the tires just a little bit, but that is better than flat spotting them. I will say that. It makes the car basically undrivable once those tires get to that flat spotted point. It becomes an absolute demon to drive. Yeah. Anyway. As we've mentioned already, Beaver currently at the front of the pack and still dominating our sprint race here today with, again, our 20 laps being our sprint race here today, and after this will be 40 laps or 40 minutes that we will have for these drivers heading into the final race of today. So Beaver looking again to come away with a 3-time back-to-back win if you consider the 2 wins that he had 2 weeks ago at Rudskogen. So if you can come away with another win here for the sprint race here at Zolder, it is going to be quite a good race here for Beaver and for Team Loveseed. So as we're looking here at AJ, the number 45 driver, we also see a vast amount of damage here to the rear end of that number 45 machine. The rear wing and really the rear end of that car has seen much better days, and I can't imagine that that wing is producing much downforce or really any kind of force at this moment. Maybe jank force, if that's a thing. Maybe we could ask AJ at some point, I'm sure. So as we continue to see a lot of this field really just kind of settle in and get these final, what will be about 8 laps left to go here, I don't know if we're going to see any drivers that are going to close in and bring some battles in here for themselves or really any of this field. The closest that we've got is between AJ and Bob Wallace. Here between the 45 and the 666 machine, and Bob Wallace doing a phenomenal job of keeping AJ off here, and AJ with the amount of damage that he has to that 45 car. I mean, I can't imagine that it's driving well. I mean, he's obviously able to race here, but I can't imagine that it's easy to keep that car going in a straight line and raceable, if you will. Especially when you could almost say your wing to be, I guess, not necessarily crucial, but for your turning abilities, which this car is kind of, I don't want to say it's known for it, but it's definitely one of the key features of this car is that it has great turning ability. I've said it before in the past, these cars, they almost drive kind of like Formula 1 cars a little bit, with just how much downforce that they have and just how quickly you're able to get on the brakes and really just throw these things around. It's just incredible. You really can't do it with a lot of other cars, and the closest thing that I can describe it to is, again, just a Formula car. Maybe not necessarily Formula 1, maybe probably more like Formula 3, Formula 2-esque, but still, same principle applies. These are just very, very powerful, very high downforce cars that just, when driven by a professional like these drivers here, it is a very quick machine indeed. Yeah, I don't think that one's gonna buff out. You know, as much as the pit crew for the 45 driver is probably wishing for that, you know, maybe they can take a dead blow to it and just kind of, you know, bump it back into place. I'm kidding. But here we've got a battle developing for second place between DC and Squilliam. Squilliam right on the tail here of the number 3 driver. We're going to ride right on board with Squilliam on the nose. And for those of you that aren't aware, Squilliam here shown as Will Hamaspar. Again, for some reason, oh boy, DC really, and Squilliam getting right up to the bumper, makes contact with the number 3 driver and closes the gap all the way to the rear wing and is able to make the pass as they make their way through the chicane here of turn, oh boy, the final second to last chicane here. DC going to be on the inside as they come through the last chicane, but Squilliam's going to be the one to come out on top of it as they exit onto the front straightaway, and they come wheel to wheel with one another. Squilliam going to go all the way to the top of the track, dives it into turn 1. DC trying to keep up with the number 6 driver as they continue the battle here for second place. Squilliam doing a phenomenal job of keeping himself up here in that second place spot and showing DC exactly why it is that he is putting up a fight here. He has got quite the machine underneath him here today as DC continues to try and close this gap here once again and keep this fight going between them, as we're seeing a pit stop start to head underway here, as right now we are entering in our expected fuel window for these cars. About 17 to 18 laps is the average anticipated fuel window here for these drivers. So, and it actually looks like the checkered flag is going to fly here as our timer has surpassed here. So 20 minutes for our sprint race. Beaver already crossing the line here, but it is going to be Squilliam and DC to take it home for second and third place. And that is my bad for not looking at the timer. I'm so used to looking at the lap ticker to tell when the race is going to be over. So that's going to, I still need to do better on that. But we still see some drivers making their way through the final few turns here, but not many battles having formed as Brosside makes his way out of the final turn and across the checkered line. He takes home 6th place. Joe Albanese, aka Long Island Nerd, Garlic Dog, 7th and 8th place for these two. Driver and Long Island Nerd's teammate, Biker Pilot, also going to come across the line here for 9th place, as Prince Adam takes it home in 10th place here as well. And a big celebration here, or well, kind of a celebration, I guess you could say, for Prince Adam. Urko takes it home in 11th. There goes AJ taking it home in 12th place. James McKinney going to take it across the line here for 13th. Eat My Dust will bring it home for 14th. And McMurk will take it across the line here for 15th here today as well. So that will round out our drivers for the sprint race here today, and we'll have a little bit of a warm-up session for the rest of our drivers, as we are now going to have a little bit of an interview here with our top 2 finishers from the sprint race here today. The first of which that we will see up here in the booth will be Squilliam. Squilliam, welcome to the booth. Congratulations on your second place finish here for the sprint race. Very, very good run here for yourself, and really kind of having to fight your way up to that second place spot. I mean, only having 20 laps really to work with, and from what I've seen, Squilliam, I mean, like I mentioned in the beginning of the broadcast, I'm sure you probably didn't hear it because you were too busy driving. But this is the first time that I've ever been here at Zolder, and seeing already what I'm seeing here is just a lot of technical racing. I mean, what's kind of the biggest hurdles that you're having to face right now behind the wheel?
Yeah, I mean, first off, all I can really say about that race is, holy crap, that was awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this track is very, very technical, especially in this car. You have so many low speed corners that you've got to be really careful on the throttle on and try to carry the speed. But then you've also got all these inside curbing with all the turtles and whatnot. I mean, the first chicane is insane to try to get through in this car, and it's definitely challenging anywhere on the track, to be honest.
Well, in looking into the feature race here today and having, what was it, the top 12 inverted? The top 8 inverted? I can't remember now.
Top 8.
Top 8. So having the top 8 inverted and finding yourself, having to fight pretty much alongside with Beaver here to move yourselves back up to the front of the pack going into this feature. I mean, what do you kind of hope to see happen in these first opening laps? I mean, really, that's the best time that you're going to have to be able to make huge gains on anyone. So what's your biggest goal going into the opening laps of our feature here today?
Yeah, definitely the big goal is just be patient. It's a very long race compared to what we just did. Last race I really bottled the beginning and had to really fight to get my way back up to second. But in this one, you figure out the cold tires on the first race, and now you know where you can push the car and where others struggled and things like that. And so just trying to capitalize on that first lap as much as you can without trying to kill your car, and just being patient. Like I said, this is another track that's just really hard to pass on. So you just got to take your time, set up your passes nicely, and take any opportunities you can get. But definitely don't put yourself in a position that's going to put you in the wall.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Squilliam, you've done a phenomenal job in all the races that I've gotten the chance to see you in so far, and I think you do a phenomenal job of keeping that patience and keeping your calm and cool, as I like to say, throughout all these starts of these races. So, on that note, and before I let you go here and get yourself a little bit of warm up, a little bit of pre-practice in before we kick things off here once again, anyone watching the broadcast, anyone at home, in the pit crew that you want to shout out and thank before you head out tonight?
Big shout out to Abby if she's watching. She's my girlfriend. Have no idea if she's watching or not, but I sent her the link, so maybe. But also, shout out to all the usual people like Kelsey and probably Adam, who's sitting in there with her, and some of the other friends from Atlanta that like to tune every now and then. So, and probably my brother Matt. He's probably watching too.
Well, it's always a pleasure to have you up here, and I look forward to potentially talking to you again here before the night is over. But on that note here, Squill, I'll let you go and get yourself to some practice, and good luck to you, and don't bin it.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely. Have a good one. All right, so that was Squilliam out of the booth here, taking it home for second in our sprint race. Taking it home for the win, however, is going to be the man of the hour, Beaver, bringing home what I like to consider a 3-time back-to-back win here, 2-time winner from Rutskogen, and a sprint race winner here at Zolder. Beaver, you are a man on fire at the moment and really, really showing the field what your pace is truly like here at Zolder. Do you think you're going to have any competition going into this feature race, knowing that you're going to be starting in 8th place, having a few other drivers around you that I think really have shown some good pace here as well? Squilliam, AJ was starting to show some good pace there as well. DC even, a couple other drivers here as well, but this is really where we're going to start to see long run speed start to come into play. I mean, what do you think your long run speed looks like? At the end of the day, are you worried going into our feature here today?
I'd say yes. The competition is. I think it's a lot closer than that first race made it look. When you qualify and then you start in the order you qualify, it just tends to spread out, which I think is pretty boring. So the invert makes it interesting, and it kind of shows how everyone else can race, I guess, instead of just pacing and spreading out. Yes, I had my eyes on the relative the entire time watching Squilliam. I think he's a huge threat. Even DC had awesome pace. So, if those guys can get clear at the beginning of the race and make me chase them down, however it plays out, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The biggest competition is the tires. They're so cold at the beginning. I was so surprised how cold they were. I almost lost it myself. That's how Squilliam fell to the back. Getting heat in the tires is going to be the biggest thing, and then maintaining them for the long run will also be a struggle, I think. I don't know if the track is hot, but felt like the tires were falling off right at the end of that race there.
Well, I definitely noticed some drivers starting to struggle a little bit towards the end here. I would say actually more towards the beginning than we did towards the end. It started to seem like more drivers started to get things locked in as the race went on. So hopefully the track temperatures have gone up enough to where once tire temperatures get back up to normal, hopefully it's sticky enough for everyone to keep a good race here. But we'll have to wait and find out. And I mean, Beaver, having dominated the past, really couple races that you've been in, I guess, are you hoping to secure yet another win here for the feature, or you just looking to do your best here, knowing the competition is going to be pretty stiff here tonight, I think?
Yeah, doing my best for sure. Obviously, a win is the goal, but if you don't make it through lap 1 and you're pacing for 40 minutes, it's a lot less fun, and just not worth it. So I'm going to play it safe. I said that last week or 2 weeks ago, and then I went from 8th to 3rd before turn 1. So maybe if I say it again, play it safe, maybe I'll have some luck. But yeah, I'll just try to keep it clean. I want to race everyone respectfully, and hopefully get to race people this time. I'm looking forward to that most.
Yeah, I'm sure it definitely gets a little lonely up there being all by yourself. But Beaver, if I don't get the chance to talk to you again tonight before the race is over, is there anyone watching the broadcast? Is anyone at home or in the pit crew that you want to shout out and thank before you head out tonight?
I think so. I think Riley, Andrea, Ed, and Amelia are watching, so hello to them. I'll see a message in a minute if they are watching. But hello, thanks for watching. And Sean as well. Yes, so hello everyone. Thanks for watching. Hope this next one goes well for you guys.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for joining me up here in the booth, Beaver. It's a pleasure as always, and hopefully we get to talk to you again before the night is over. But on that note, good luck to you, and hopefully we see you back up here in the top 3, or at least with another win once things are all wrapped up and said and done here.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Have a good one.
Yes, yeah.
Alrighty, folks. So that was Beaver taking it home for the win here in our sprint race here for the Just Two Idiots Cup Series for our Radical Sprint Series here today, round number 3 that we are on here today. So, folks, it has been a rather exciting day here for the race here today, and I actually haven't had the chance to describe what the name of today's race is, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. For those of you who would like to know, today's race is eloquently called She's Moving Way Too Fast and All He Wanted Was to Zolder. I don't remember who exactly has the credit for that one, but that is a clever one nonetheless. So with just about 30 seconds left here in our warm-up session before we see drivers make their way back out onto the starting grid and get ourselves ready for our feature race here tonight. 40 minutes that we will have for, again, the feature events here tonight. And after what we just saw for our sprint race, I'm sure it's going to be quite a lot of action that we will see here today. So as we see the checkered flag now going to wave here for our warm-up session, we will see the grid form up here for the first time here at Zolder for our feature race. All right, and here we go. Up in the front row, it's Garlic Dog and Long Island Nerd, Brosidon and Nicolator going to be in the second row. Black Bob and DC in our third row. Squilliam and Beaver going to be in the fourth row. Biker Pilot and Prince Adam in the fifth row. Urko and AJ going to be in the sixth row. As we move ourselves down the grid here, James McKinney and Eat My Dust going to be in the seventh row, and McMurk and 976 going to be at the tail end of the field in the eighth row. And here we go, and away we send the drivers off here for the second time here tonight. Off into turn number one. It's Garlic Dog, Brosidon, Joe Albanese, Bob Wallace. It is calamity all over the field here, trying to find good cameras to get on these drivers. Garlic Dog gets a little bit of distance between himself and the rest of the field here, but we've still got Long Island Nerd. He snaps himself into the wall, and it's more calamity through the field. Multiple drivers involved here. Looks like the number 6, the number 5. The number 3 of DC making his way on through here, but there is still more action to be seen around this field. Beaver also towards the back of this pack here now as well. A lot of calamity here as we see the number 27 of McMurk go through the chicane there. Probably not the ideal line to have there. Probably going to have at the cost of at least a tenth of a second there, having to give up there. But more battles still being seen as drivers get themselves settled back out here. We've got Biker Pilot off track here, the number 42 machine, and none of our cameras able to get a good line on him. It looks like the camera crew here at Zolder is going to need a little bit of help for any future races here to make sure that we've got good angles going forward. But Urko, Eat My Dust, now going to have some action here, battling for 5th place. As again, this field continues to try and settle themselves out here. Eat My Dust trying to stay within a quarter of a second at the moment. We'll ride on board here for a short period with the number 24 driver and see what he's got in store for Urko, the number 33 machine. Eat My Dust, again, one of the lone drivers out on the track, and Urko with Bong Life Motorsport trying to score some good points for himself and his team. Urko's teammate DC5, I believe, is not here today, unfortunately. Or actually, no, he is. DC, the number 3 driver, currently in 14th at the moment. That's my apologies. But it looks like McMurk, the number 27 driver, having a little bit of a moment there, finding himself back down in pit road. Bob Wallace, meanwhile, having Beaver, the number 10 driver, the sprint race winner, moving out and ahead of the 666 machine up into 7th place here. Beaver trying to move himself up the field as quickly as he can. Eat My Dust, meanwhile, up ahead, fighting for the 5th place spot here as they come down the front straight into turn number 1. Urko going to be on the inside. Eat My Dust on the outside as they exit. Eat My Dust is going to be out ahead heading into turns 2 and 3. And Urko now going to be falling just a little bit further beyond the 24 driver, just about a quarter of a second now separating these two drivers up ahead. For the lead, Brosidon, Joe Albanese, a.k.a. Long Island Nerd, and Garlic Dog, all here in the top 3. Brosidon having a little bit of a gap between himself and the rest of the pack, but how long that gap is going to last for is going to be the question here. As Beaver was talking about, tires are a huge, huge factor to consider here throughout today's race. And I think some drivers here, given what we've seen in the sprint race, I don't think a lot of drivers are going to be, some drivers here are not going to be quite prepared for the long run pace here today that is going to be required for them to make it all the way to the end. But that is one, oh boy, Urko here having to go through the sand here, through the last chicane. Not sure if that was just due to he just overshot the braking zone there and just had to take it to prevent himself from going into any other driver. I'm sure that's probably was the case there. But now Bob Wallace is going to be right hot on his tail once again here. A little bit further up ahead, we've got a battle forming for second place. AJ and Garlic Dog. AJ with a clean move up into second place. Really showing some good speed here for the number 45 driver. And while things have kind of spread out here for the moment, let's take a very, very quick gander at the start of this race here, of the feature here today, heading off into turn number 1. There we see Brosidon, our current leader, moving ahead of the pack, and a couple drivers getting off track here. I believe Prince Adam was the first one to go off track there, but Brosidon doing a phenomenal job keeping himself out ahead of the rest of the field. DC, the next one to fall victim, just out of the exit of turn 2 there and into the grass, and a few other drivers. The number 5 Nicolator, DC as well, I believe, finding himself involved in it all. A lot of different calamity here than what we saw for the sprint race. So I think the excitement is definitely built up for a lot of these drivers here for the feature, and everyone wanting to gain those positions early on, get those, oh boy, getting right up over the curb. The number 24, Eat My Dust. A little bit too much airtime for the 24, and that is going to cause the car to spin out as he gets back down on the ground. A very, very common thing to happen here for the Radical SR8. These cars really do not like curbs at all. They really, really don't. You have to be careful when it comes to curbs with these cars. The slightest bit of difference in elevation, it really just doesn't handle it all that well. And it looks like we've someone, oh boy, Long Island Nerd, the 02 driver, finding himself in trouble here. Let's take a quick look at the replay here for Long Island Nerd. Going through the last chicane, and yeah, you know, the same thing that we saw happen to Urko just a little bit ago. Probably just carrying a little bit too much speed through it, and yeah, just getting that rear end away from him as he tried to slow it down. But at this moment here, folks, I want to thank every single one of you who has tuned in here at the moment and is watching along with us at this time. And if you enjoy the action that you are watching so far, feel free to hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe as well, as we've got plenty of racing action to happen that happens throughout the week here on the Team Goon Squad channel. So don't be afraid to hit that sub button and check out all that we have here throughout the week as we see the battle between Urko and Eat My Dust continue to develop here. And for those of you that also might be interested, we also are offering merchandise for the Just Two Idiots Cup series directly on our website. You can find that in the comments section right now, the link that has been just posted. Head on over to our website, teamgoonsquad.com, and check out the merchandise that we have for the Just Two Idiots Cup series. In anything that is purchased from our website for the J2I Cup series, 50% of the profits go directly back to the league in support of their efforts, in support of what they do, and to keep their operations running and continue to do what they do. It's just a way for us to give back and to be able to try and help out the leagues that we work with, aside from what we do here up in the booth and so on and so forth. So if you would like to support your favorite driver or your favorite league, head on over to our website and pick up a t-shirt, pick up a sweater, pick up a coffee mug, whatever floats your boat, a sticker. Everything helps, as we still see Urko and Eat My Dust fighting it out here, and Eat My Dust having a little bit of trouble there through what I think was the second to last chicane, having to recover from that one, and it is, luckily for Eat My Dust, not any worse than it could have been in that situation. But here we see Brosidon and AJ now starting to close in on one another here, or rather AJ is closing in on Brosidon, our current leader of the race, lap 8 of 40. And we're already 10 minutes into the race here at the moment, and Brosidon is showing that he's got decent pace here, but I've got to wonder if tire wear is starting to affect the 99 machine. As slow, I mean, here we go. We're already right on the tail here with AJ. Pushing and pushing and pushing, and AJ's definitely got the pace to lead the race. If he can get up in front and in clean air. Here he goes on to the inside, and here is the move. The second to last chicane here. It's almost side by side between the two, and it looks like Brosidon is going to put up a little bit of a fight here. Going to get right in the draft, right behind the rear wing of the number 45 through the last chicane. Falls back a little bit, a little over a half a second between the two now, and Brosidon's, I think, at this point realizes that he's got to put up a fight here, and is going to try and squeeze what he can out of that 99 machine. But again, I'm still wondering if tire wear might have caught up to Brosidon here, and those tires may not be quite what he desires at this moment. Let's actually take a look at the track temperatures, at the overall temperatures that we have here today at Zolder. And looking at things right now, it is a relatively comfortable day that we have here at Zolder, a very comfortable 71 degrees Fahrenheit, as in the track temperature is about 102 degrees Fahrenheit as well, and a very light breeze, about 5 miles an hour. So with a 50% humidity, I think it is a phenomenal day for racing here at Zolder. And I think from the conversation that Beaver and myself were having for his post-race interview for his win for the sprint race, you know, I think slowly but surely the track temperatures have come up here and grip has increased, but only marginally, I think. And again, just with how technical this track is, I think it's going to be tough here for maybe not every driver, but for a lot of drivers here today. As we have officially seen the field settle out to the point where we are seeing, realistically, well, now 2 battles, but only one that is about almost a half a second between one another. That is between Bob Wallace, aka Black Bob, and Garlic Dog for the 6th place position here at the moment. So these two drivers closing in on one another, but Black Bob showing he has got slightly better pace here than the 199 machine of Garlic Dog. But I'm not sure, as seems like Garlic Dog is closing the gap here little by little. And as I say that, the lockup there from the 199 machine as they moved through the chicane brought that gap up to about a 1.25 seconds between the two. So didn't exactly work in their favor, but going to continue on with their race nonetheless as we enter lap number 10. Well, we'll be entering lap 11 here as AJ is going to cross the line here once again as he exits the final turn. And back across the line here to bring us lap 11 of 40, but we won't quite get to that 40 mark here. We will more than likely get to about, my guess is about lap 35. Yeah, that seems about right. Lap 35-ish, maybe less, maybe lap 30. We'll see. We'll find out when we get there. Well, that's neither here nor there, as really the only thing that these drivers are concerned about is just turning laps until they have the crew chief in their ear telling them it is time to stop, or they see that checkered flag finally wave from the flag stand. So as looks like Beaver and Brosidon starting to close in on one another here. Beaver, a quiet but stealthy climb up here into the top 3 here for the number 10 driver. And really, I honestly wasn't even paying attention, I guess, as much as I thought I was, because Beaver, again, just kind of snuck up here out of nowhere, it seemed like, and is now back up here into the top 3. And I don't think is going to go anywhere anytime soon. I mean, he has already shown that he has got the pace here at Zolder and is going to be one of the drivers to fight with here today. What I'm really, really sad to kind of see here is the fact that Squilliam down there in 14th and a lap down here as well, not having quite the race he wanted here today. Let's actually take a look here and see what happened here for Squilliam to make him. Well, actually, this is a little. We got to go a little bit further back here to see exactly what happened here. But Squilliam, the number 6 driver, here on lap 8, or this is lap 2 actually. I'm not sure. Perhaps we've missed something here. Well, either way, I don't want to take up too much time trying to find that specific incident. I think it might be in there, actually. But either way, it is unfortunate to see Squilliam all the way down there in 14th at the moment. Still fighting, still out there on track, and still turning laps. So, I mean, can't exactly take that away from him, as Beaver now going to be basically right on the rear wing of the number 99 of Brosidon here, and closing, really putting the pressure on him now as they come through turns 2 and 3. I think Beaver at this point is just going to be waiting for the opportunity to make the pass here, probably in one of these straights, as they come into the first chicane. And there it is. Seems like a very good place where Beaver is comfortable. And we come through the second chicane here side by side with one another. Oh boy, very good from both drivers. I mean, I'm sure probably not the way either one of them intended for that to go down, but they both survived. They both made it out of there. Brosidon still out on track here as well. It almost looked like there was a little bit of looseness in the back end of that 99 machine here, but managed to keep it together and managed to keep that car from going anywhere else here. As we are just about a minute and a half from the halfway point of today's race, and also a little bit early here, I think, for pit stops, but Beaver coming in here lap 14 taking things here a little bit earlier than what I'm expecting. Our pit stop window, our fuel window, was about 17 to 18 laps. So this is theoretically about 3 to 4 laps sooner than what we theoretically should be seeing from this field. And we can confidently say that because the majority of our field is still out here. Now, Biker Pilot, as I'm saying that, also coming down here into pit road, but quite a bit of damage here to that number 42 machine. Not a whole lot of damage here to the number 10. So I'm not certain well, actually, I can probably say an undercut strategy is what Beaver is kind of planning for here at the moment. I think a lot of these drivers, well, thinking about it here, if we're already almost 20 minutes into the race here, we're going on lap 15. I think this only should be a one-stop race, so I think Beaver might be onto something here. Coming in early, Garlic Dog sends it a little bit too much. That just send it banner there on the side of the 199 machine. Being taken to heart here by Garlic Dog, and you know, that's the kind of confidence you need as a driver. But sometimes, again, that just send it mentality can sometimes be a little bit too much here. But Garlic Dog going to send it down into the pits here now as well, after probably scrubbing the tires on that machine here as well. So going to be wanting those fresh tires to finish out the race here. So again, I mean, as we're just over halfway into our feature race here today, I genuinely think this is going to be a one-stop race for this field. I don't think it was ever going to be a two-stop race to begin with, but you never know. But for these drivers at the moment, I think the biggest driver to look out for is going to be Beaver. Again, I mean, coming in this early, it's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off. Got a little bit of a battle here between Garlic Dog and DC. The battle for 10th place happening here at the moment. Just about a half a second gap separating these drivers here at the moment. As Long Island Nerd makes his way down into pit road. We're seeing that slow trickle of drivers start to make their way into pit road and begin their pit cycles. Their one and only pit cycle, I would assume, for the majority of this field. Again, Beaver kind of one of the drivers that's up in the air for myself, at least at this point. But I think he might actually still be okay, given we turned 14 laps in 20 minutes. And he came in at pretty much exactly the halfway mark, so I think he might be okay. Urko, Bob Wallace, aka Black Bob, make their way, down into pit road here. As we continue to receive great camera angles from our camera crew down here today, but that is going to shuffle up the top 5 here just a little bit more as these two drivers make their way into the pits and start their cycles here. So while we have a little bit of time here and while things are kind of settled at the moment, I mean, well, not necessarily settled, but kind of just quiet, let's take a ride on board here with 976. Why not? We'll ride on board from the helmet camera of the 976 driver and just have a listen to the sights and sounds here at Zolder. That was a ride on board there with the driver, with 976. As we start to watch the battle between Garlic Dog and Joe Albanese, aka Long Island Nerd. Garlic Dog up ahead in the 9th place spot here at the moment as we start to see the front of the field make their way in and out of the pits here. Eat My Dust, the last driver in the top 3 to make their way into pit road here at the moment. Garlic Dog now going to be closing in on James McKinney here in the number 16 machine as we start to see this battle form up, and we actually see as well, we can go back to Long Island Nerd here in the 02 machine and see this 3D battle here for 8th place start to develop and continue to form here. A little bit of a step out there from Long Island Nerd. Quick reactions there from the 02 driver to prevent that from getting any worse here. As we come to the short straight and into the final chicane here. The battle here for 8th place continues on, but up ahead in 4th place, things are a little bit different where we see Eat My Dust fending off Urko at the moment. You can see riding out the rear view of the number 24 driver. Eat My Dust, Urko, they have both been duking it out here for the 4th place spot for some time and kind of having a, oh boy, Urko closing the gap there real good. As they go through the second to last chicane here and into the final chicane, Urko in that previous chicane able to close the gap there by a considerable margin. But back out onto the front straight, they look to continue that fight heading back into turn 1. But Urko leaving a little bit of distance between them and still trying to see if what he can do to close that gap as AJ and Beaver start to fight for the lead here. The action forming between these two drivers. Let's ride on board with the number 10 of Beaver right on the nose camera. Beaver doing a fantastic job staying right on the rear wing of the 45 of AJ. And I love the message there on the wing of the 45 driver as a great move here from Beaver. getting right side by side with the leader, AJ, as they come down the short straight, heading into the final chicane. AJ going to be on the inside, but Beaver takes the inside line. The better exit out of the final turn onto the front straight and across the checkered line. Beaver takes the lead here with 11 minutes left to go. With just enough time, Beaver is going to be able to move himself up to the front of the field. And now only has to really, again, I think he's going to be able to stay out the entirety of his run here with the tires and fuel that he has. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But the fact that he came in so early is what concerns me, and especially knowing the fact that AJ has roughly about 4 or 5 lap fresher tires than Beaver. I don't know how well AJ is going to be able to capitalize on that, but we'll find out. We'll see just exactly what AJ is going to have up his sleeve here as we see this battle continue on, and we enter into the final 10 minutes of our race here today at Zolder. She's moving way too fast, and all he wanted was to Zolder. Here for round number 3 with the Just Two Idiots Cup Series. I love that name. That is a mouthful, but that is a great one. So AJ here in the second place spot at the moment. Gonna have a little bit of lap traffic, I believe, in the form of Prince Adam, the number 43 driver, doing everything in his power to keep out of the way of the lead lap drivers here as well, not trying to be in the way or cause any wrecks here for anyone for that matter. So Prince Adam, great sportsmanship here from the 43 driver. As we start to see 976 and DC have a bit of a battle here for 10th place. 976 currently out ahead with Team Moores Racing. And DC trying to get right onto the rear wing of the 976 machine, and looks like he's going to be able to make a pass around the outside here as they go through turns 2 and 3. And a good move here from DC up into 10th place, now into the top 10 here for himself and his teammate Urko with Team Bong Life Motorsport. It looks like actually we've got a battle forming here somewhere. Where did it go? I think this is the one that we were just seeing here between Garlic Dog and Long Island Nerd. Battle for 8th place developing here as we, again, under 10 minutes left to go here in our race at Zolder, our feature event here at Zolder, so not much time left here for any of these drivers to make up positions or wrap up the fights that they may have with one another. 8th place being one of them, 2nd place slowly starting to diminish between them. Well, we're looking out the rear wing of the O2 driver of Long Island Nerd as we see Garlic Dog just in the distance there, just a little further back, as we continue to see the various battles forming up around the track here. AJ and Brosidon being one of the closest battles that we have for 2nd place here at this moment. And as we've been talking throughout the entirety of this race, or since the last time that we talked about Beaver, Beaver has managed to move up to almost 17 seconds of a gap between himself and the rest of the field. I mean, I don't even have words. So for Beaver, he is well and gone and out of here at this moment for Team Love Seat. So a good points day for Team Love Seat, and AJ still trying to do everything in his power here as well. AJ with Team Undesirables looking rather good here today at Zolder. And Brosidon, the number 99 driver, going to be with Team ZFG. His teammate Black Bob currently sitting in 5th place. Both of these two drivers having a top 5 finish, I'm sure, is going to be a good points day for the team championship. As Brosidon continues to try and get as close as he can to AJ, getting right on the rear bumper of the number 45 machine. With just under 4 minutes left in today's race, only a few laps left to go before we see the checkered flag fly here for round number 3 of the Just Two Idiots Sprint Series. Great racing between these drivers, absolutely fantastic. Brosidon still within a quarter of a second here of AJ. The battle for 2nd place continuing on. Brosidon going to get right on the rear wing. And a fantastic job here from Brosidon. Patience paying off here for the number 99 driver as they move through the first chicane here at Zolder. And Brosidon charges off with only a few minutes left here in tonight's feature race. In the final race of the night, AJ trying to do everything in his power to get back into that 2nd place spot that he just lost. And probably didn't expect to lose it either. But Brosidon showing he has got the moves here as well. And frankly, you know, a lot of these drivers showing very good pace here as the race progresses on. So I think just as the track temperature starts to warm up, actually it's cooled off, surprisingly enough. But as tire temperatures warm up, they start to wear them in a little bit more. They're able to get more grip out of those tires, and I would have to say they're probably at the near the end of their tire wear at the moment. Maybe even actually probably close to the halfway now that I'm looking at things here. When with only 2 minutes left here, really surprising how Beaver kind of read it in the walls and took that undercut, and it just paid off brilliantly here for Beaver. I mean, I don't know if he planned that or if it just kind of popped into his head and it just happened to work in his favor. I mean, just absolutely brilliant finish here for Beaver if he manages to take it all the way home for the win here yet again and make himself a true back-to-back winner as Bob Wallace. Oh no, Black Bob. Bit of a mistake here coming out of the first chicane, and Urko doing all that he can to slow down. He was able to do so, but still making contact, and unfortunately having actually, that was lap traffic. I thought that was another driver that made it past him, but that was lap traffic of, I believe, nope, that wasn't it. Either way, as we now enter into our final minute of the race here today, we will see the checkered flag fly here in just about 30 seconds time here. You see the white flag being waved from the flag stand there already. But a few last, oh boy, no, 976 gets punted out of the first chicane right in the entry of it, and that is going to set him back a little bit here. I'm sure he's not going to be too thrilled about that bit of contact there, but here goes Brosidon, the number 99 machine, and AJ, the 45, continue their final fight here for the night for second place. AJ going to try and do everything that he can here into the second to last chicane. One more to go. Will it be possible for AJ? I don't think it's going to be quite enough here as he tries to get as close as he can, takes it to the inside, and oh my, AJ pulls it off as Brosidon makes a mistake on the exit of the final turn. AJ takes it home for second place after a huge error by Brosidon in the number 99 machine. But luckily, Brosidon going to be able to take it home in third nonetheless. But not, wow. What, I don't think there's a better way to describe broadcaster's curse than what just happened, or commentator's curse than what we just saw there. That, wow. So that is going to conclude our feature race here today, as we await for the final few drivers to make their way across the line, and officially we get our post-race results here. Here we can take a look at the post-race results now, as we're going to go ahead and pull up our first driver. The first driver that we're going to have up into the booth here, our third place finisher of the race here today, Brosidon, the number 99 machine, taking it home in third here for the feature race. Brosidon, welcome up to the booth. Congratulations on your podium finish here today. What a race that we had here, and I mean, what was your expectations coming into our feature here today? I mean, it just a lot of action to be seen around the field throughout the 40 minutes that we had here. I mean, did you expect to come away with a podium, or were you hoping for a little bit more today?
No, actually, I mean, I think this is only my second podium in J2I, and it's once again, I guess I don't know what happened behind me during the feature, but I would assume some carnage based off of some of the big name drivers, having to pit in on lap 1. But typically when I come into these, it's just try to stay clean, don't spin the car or wreck it. Unfortunately, that happened in the last turn, and AJ got the better of me, but some great racing all around there. Just poor judgment on my part trying to. I've lost a position there. Actually, it was a podium spot back in the F3 races here. I think it was 3 months ago, on the exact same situation coming out of the last turn. He just got better drive, so that little thing in the back of my mind. But anyways, yeah, don't typically expect to come out with a podium. That's usually for my teammate Bob Wallace to do. So and I'm just 4th through 6th, but I'll take advantage of any podium I can get, of course. And the guys race clean, and if everything goes well, we get lucky.
Absolutely. Well, I think I don't think luck was quite all that came into it here today. I think you definitely had a lot of skill involved in your podium here today. You definitely showed some you showed a lot of really good pace here today, and it was really exciting to watch that battle between yourself and AJ there towards the end. But looking forward, heading into the next couple weeks, going into Okayama, what do you expect to accomplish there?
It's going to be the same game plan as usual usually, and a little bit on the back foot this season. I had to miss last race as I was in Boston for a convention trip, and the first race I had a bit rough, so this is trying to get back into the swing of things. And obviously a podium would be nice, but it's really just to try to finish within the top 10 in the initial sprint, and then come feature, it's be consistent, save those tires, have a clean pit stop, and try to come away with that top 5. And if something happens like it did today, a podium. So that's my name of the game. I'm not the fastest guy out there, but I try to at least stay consistent, even if it is a half a second. So and that's kind of my usual game plan. That'll be the same game plan going into Okayama. Okayama should be a good track, just like Zolder. I like Zolder a lot, like Okayama. They're a bit hard to pass, but there are some great little opportunity areas like turn 1, and then that hairpin on the backstretch of Okayama that are really good passing zones. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm pretty sure it's a very popular track, so it should be a lot of fun and some exciting content.
Absolutely. Well, I look forward to seeing you there. And before we let you go here and get to celebrating with your teammates and fellow drivers, is anyone watching the broadcast or at home or in the pit crew that you want to shout out and thank before you go?
Well, I'm sure some of the ZFG guys are lurking around, and as always, it's always great to help represent the team, and I wouldn't be here without you guys always pushing me every time we get together. So especially Bob, my teammate. I'm sure he'll watch this back later, but everybody wants to beat Bob and the team, and I did today. So, but yes, great times. So, and yeah, also thanks also for hosting and putting us on, so, and giving us the opportunity for this. So appreciate that too.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining me up here in the booth, Brosidon, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks' time, or maybe next week if you're in the Endurance Series. I don't recall if you're in that or not, but
no, not this season.
All right,
I'm taking one off. So
well, enjoy the break that you have, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks at Okayama.
Yep. Thanks, Mason. Have a good one.
You as well. Alrighty, folks. So that was Brosidon, the 99 machine driver, coming out of the booth here, taking home 3rd place here tonight. Up next into the booth is going to be AJ, taking home 2nd place here today. AJ with Team Undesirables doing a phenomenal job, a lone driver with his team as well, putting on some very, very good points here for yourself and your team, AJ. And also some very, very good racing. Going into the final turn, the final lap of the race here today with Brosidon just ahead of you. I mean, going into the last chicane, did you expect anything to happen there, or were you just hoping and praying that you were going to come out in 2nd when you came across the line?
I was just praying. I had descended that whole last lap. I was like, I have to get there. Managed to get there, and then I was not expecting him to spin it, but if I'll take it,
Yeah, if the opportunity opens, you might as well have it. So, AJ, all race long, both the sprint race, the feature race, you did fantastic. Your pace was great. You were competing up there with Beaver. When he was around on the track, it seemed like after a while, he was in his own area code after a certain while. But, you had different drivers up there competing in the top 3 for a while. Bob Wallace was even getting up there. Urko, Eat My Dust at some points. But as the race progressed on and as drivers started to get more and more comfortable behind the wheel, what was kind of your biggest challenge that you were facing that really prevented you from staying, from being a little bit faster than what you may or may not have hoped for here tonight?
I think I've learned a lot that first race, and just winning that race, trying to conserve the tires as best I could, but also put some pace, especially after that first lap, knowing that Beaver was behind me, and I had to do everything to get up ahead of him and stay up there, and he was just really fast. So I made it to keep that gap going. And then right before I was pitting, I was really trying for the fastest lap, but then I just got unlucky with traffic and lost a couple seconds there, and that's what kind of Beaver made it up on me, and then I just had no pace to keep up with him, and once he got up there, he was there and then gone, and it was a great race for him, and he's just super fast. I don't think I would have been able to keep up with him anyway.
Well, AJ, I think you did a phenomenal job, even despite all of that, and I think the pace here for the 45 machine going forward, I think, is going to be something to look out for going into, especially Okayama, where we'll see kind of a lot of probably similar action heading there. But AJ, before I let you go and do your celebrating and celebrating with your teammates and so on, is anyone watching the broadcast or at home or in the pit crew that you want to shout out and thank before you go?
You just know all my friends, be it Beaver, Bay, Rocky, all those guys, Nick. You know, those are all really good friends in this league, and what makes this league amazing is all the friends that you come for the racing, stay for the people, and that's what I love about this league.
Absolutely. Well, AJ, I want to thank you for joining me up here in the booth once again, and congratulate you once again on bringing home a podium here for the feature race for round number 3 here at Zolder. But on that note, I look forward to talking to you again, hopefully in the future, and good luck to you going forward into a couple weeks here at Okayama.
Thank you. Have a great one.
You as well. Thank you. Alrighty, folks. So that was AJ taking it home for second place out of the booth here. Last and certainly is not going to be least here. The man yet again, Beaver, taking it home for the win yet again. Beaver, we were talking a little bit about this earlier in the broadcast today, and it seems like you made it your mission to be back up here once again. So welcome back, and congratulations on your 4th win back-to-back here with J2I. I mean, Beaver, it seemed like you really kind of snuck up out of nowhere into the top 3. At least for myself, it seemed like I was I looked away for 1 minute, and then the next minute you were up there competing into the top 3 again. So it seemed like you had things on point here. Once you managed to work your way past AJ and Brosidon up into first, almost pulling away with, let's see here, 23 seconds of a gap between yourself and in those two I mean, you just killed it tonight, man. I mean, were you just well prepped going into tonight's race, or was it just just being very comfortable behind the wheel tonight?
I'll be honest, I don't think even up until now I felt comfortable at this track. I think I just I got through it. I did a lot of practice, so that helped. These low slung cars with little suspension travel really don't like the bumps very much. I'm sure you saw a lot of curb spins. But yeah, after getting spun at the beginning, I was I really had a mission then. It heated trying to get back to the front. So, even if I would have got a top 3, I was going to be happy. But yeah, coming back from a spin to a win, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you just put on a clinic here today for, I think, a lot of this field, and just really showed your prowess here at Zolder. But looking forward, I mean, a couple weeks heading to Okayama, I don't think you really have much concern heading there. But what are your expectations there? Do you plan to be a 6-time back-to-back winner, or is it going to be a little bit of a different story, you think?
Hard to say. Okayama's a track that everybody that's ever run official races has done. So I think people have a lot of laps here. The difference being maybe instead of a Mazda, it's a fast Radical. So yeah, I think we'll do our best there. That track is not totally within my wheelhouse. I don't think it has a ton of character. Tracks that have character, I think I do well at. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Looking forward to next week at Phillip Island in the Endurance Series. J2I is really kicking off this season, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, absolutely. It has been a phenomenal season so far. Great racing that we've seen already in the first few races that we have, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the rest of them. But Beaver, I know we kind of let you have your shout-outs and thank yous a little bit early in the race, but if you would like to, I'll let you have the floor one more time before we wrap things out here.
Yeah, shout out to AJ and Poseidon for getting on the podium. AJ had a fantastic run. It was a lot of fun chasing him down. It's always fun racing it with him, and I've known him for a few years now, and his pace has picked up tremendously. And then a special shout out goes to Garlic Dog, because I know he was running up front for a while, and he hasn't been with J2I too long, but since he joined, his pace has increased so much, and I want to publicly praise that. I think he's been doing a great job. He's sticking with it. So it's cool to see growth within a league like this.
Absolutely, I 100% agree. It's always nice to see the new guys start to come up into the field and start to really be true contenders in the races week in and week out. But Beaver, thank you once again for joining me up here in the booth. It's great to always have you up here and have a conversation with you, even though sometimes I don't always have a lot of questions to ask you because I already asked them. But I look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks, Beaver, and probably next week as well for the endurance race. But on that note, Beaver, I will see you in the coming weeks, and good luck to you at Okayama.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Have a great one.
You too. See ya.
Alrighty, folks, so that was Beaver taking it home out of the booth here for the second win of the night here. Back-to-back wins here for Beaver in not only tonight's race at Zolder, but at also round number 2 at Rudskogen. So, 4-time back-to-back winner here for the number 10 driver, but that's also going to wrap up our coverage here tonight of round number 3 of the, hold on one second, of the She's Moving Way Too Fast and All He Wanted Was to Zolder. Thank you all for tuning in and watching here tonight. My name is Mason Heimball with Team Goon Squad, as always, bringing you the action here today. And if you would like to catch on all the action that we have here on Team Goon Squad 7 nights a week, hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe. And I will see you all same time, same place next week, right here on the same channel for the Endurance Series, round number 3, J2I Cup Series. Thank you all for watching, and see you next time.
Oh, Pearson gets into the 95 of Bolts. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona, and away we go for the first time. Nicholas Borcel, Sean.
It looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's, possibly a little bit of contact.
Now, as we've got 3 wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Nice to go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
Just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
Smooth stuff. Cody Graham's the 1-on-1 up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out, and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitz